Hi, I'm Aqua and welcome to Cobb TV. With us today is Cobb Commission Chairman Mike Boyce.
Good to be back again, Aqua.
Thank you for being here. I heard that you had a very fun and
Yes,
exciting weekend.
I did,
Want to
yes.
share a little bit with us?
Well, whenever we have a new orientation program for our new employees, I always tell them to take time with their vacation time, which is why one of the reasons we worked with a compensation committee to get them 3 additional vacation days. I think it's very important, whether you do a lot of physical work or whether you do a lot of mental work or you do both, it's very important to take time away from your job to refresh yourself. And I tell them very earnestly, make sure that they always make time for their friends and their family. So this weekend, believe it or not, this is the first opportunity I've had since I was sworn in on January 1st to go visit my grandchildren. 2 of them live in Iowa and 2 live in Michigan. So I went out to Iowa over Memorial Day weekend to visit my 2 granddaughters. And as you'll see from the pictures, I'm very proud of both of them. The first one because she has my DNA. When we brought the donut box in for her, she picked the one with the chocolate topping and the vanilla filling on top, and then gave me the look of back off, don't touch this donut. And of course, most of it's all over her face. And then the other one with the true Marine spirit, which is Avery Hart, the older one, she's got the 2 fingers behind her head to let her know that she really doesn't care anything about what people think about her. She just wants her picture taken. So it was a delightful weekend, and it was just great seeing them. We're all proud of our children and our grandchildren, and that was just a delightful 2 days with them. And then I flew back very early Monday morning to be here for the Memorial Day program at the Marietta Cemetery, and I'm just really, really delighted to see so many people there. Really extremely well organized program, great speaker in Major General Gerard from the head of the Georgia National Guard, who gave a really great address. And it was a wonderful opportunity to meet a lot of my other veteran friends and those that I had not met before and talk with them. And then right after that, I've been committed to a program called Camp Hope, and there's some pictures there about my time with them. And here's the reason I think that we should talk about that. We have a number of accountability courts here in Cobb County, and they don't get a lot of publicity, and people call them these feel-good courts, but in fact, they have a really, really important role of keeping people who might otherwise be in jail, keeping them out of jail. Because if they're in jail, the county may be protected, but we're also using taxpayer dollars to feed them and house them and clothe them. So we work very, very hard here to get these men and women that are in these courts, to get them through a long program, usually about 18 months, and then bring them back into society as productive citizens. Well, I do the same thing in this thing called Camp Hope. In this case here, these are children whose parents are in prison. And it's devastating when you're very young, anywhere from 3 to whatever age as a teenager, to have your parents go to jail. It's
devastating.
It is devastating. And it changes their whole world around, and sometimes they're so shocked by what happened, they lose their way, and they also end up in court.
Oh.
So this program here that I've been with now for almost 15 years takes these kids and shows them another way. So it's also an opportunity for a lot of these young men and women. A lot of them are 18 or older in college. A lot of them are also voters of Cobb County, to let them know that just because I'm the chairman doesn't mean that I've changed my commitment to programs I think they're important, not just to my faith walk, but also to the county. So I got there Monday afternoon, came back this afternoon, and it's an opportunity for them to see their chairman in action. They always say, so what are you doing out here? And I said, well, why wouldn't I be out here? It's an extremely valuable program, as is our accountability courts. And I just want you to know that just because I've been elected chairman of Cobb County, I'm still, I think, a people's chairman. I still believe in getting involved in programs with people and getting out there meeting them and have them see their chairman in action, not just doing things up here, which are important, but also getting back down to the basics of why this country is so great, is that in this county, we're compassionate about everybody and do what we can to help them to have a better life.
Thank you, Chairman. I think that's great that you're participating in Camp Hope. And to the viewers, we are definitely going to post that information on the chairman's page as well as in his newsletter, and we'll have that up on the website as well.
That's great, thank you.
Okay.
It's just one of many in this county. I wish I could do them all, but there's only 24 hours a day and 7 days a week.
Well, I guess we'll definitely let you have your pick because we certainly have several. And about the accountability courts, I
Right.
have also seen the success stories from it.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I've heard, that some of the other state courts or other courts in other states have also looked to our accountability
Right.
courts because they've done so well, and they're going to use that as basically the an example of how to do it right.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, on Friday before I left to go out to Iowa, I went to the graduation of the Veterans Courts. We had 2 more people graduate. Judge Reuben Green runs the Superior Court there, and there were some really great testimonies there. One of the speakers said there were the 4 G's that he doesn't want to ever see again, and they all ended G, or the four G's that run his life: Judge Green, Judge Grubb, God, and one other thing. So, I mean, you go to these courts, and these men and women that come out of that, they are so grateful for what the county has done to give them a second chance. And as much as I appreciate going and seeing them graduate, I also go to hear their incredible testimonies about where they've been and where they want to go now.
That's pretty awesome.
It is very awesome.
Well, speaking of good news, I'm a fan of good news, and we got a report yesterday that gave us a little bit of news about the positive economic
Right.
impact of SunTrust Park. Do you
Correct.
want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, what I've done is that I've asked both Bill Volkman, the finance director, and also working with Mike Plant, the chief of operations for the Braves, to let me know on a regular basis how this partnership is going financially. Obviously, everyone is very well aware of how much the commitment is of the county towards this, both in the sum of the loan for the stadium, but also the operation and maintenance costs and everything else we've done around there to make this a successful venture. This is a public-private venture, and we are now seeing the fruit of that effort. We've had over 600,000 people already go to the games since opening day on April 14th. 600,000. We've had a significant amount. I think we're $18 million ahead right now in overall splost income. And a lot of that's coming because people are coming to Cobb County to see the game, and every time they buy a soft drink or a beer or a hot dog at the stadium, that goes to splost. A lot of the retail outlets are opening there at the Battery Park, and right now we're getting income from them both in property and also taxes from the equipment that's in there that we do on an annual basis. Now, it hasn't yet come to the amount where we're getting more income from what we've spent, but every business venture, it takes 3 to 5 years to start drawing in the black, and more successful ones sooner than that. And we certainly are looking to do that. But if you'll go to our webpage, you'll see exactly the kind of income we've been deriving from the stadium and Battery Park. And as I tell people, I know that you're still focused on our original commitment to that financially, but just be patient. And I think that this will bear out to be a public-private venture that in the long run will bring financial benefit to the stadium.
Well, thank you, Chairman. And on the last item that we have today, I wanted you to share with our viewers about the new program that is going to start. Well, it's not actually new. We've been doing that for a few years,
Right.
but next week we'll be welcoming a new group of interns,
Mm-hmm.
college and some high school students. It's the ECHO program. It's Experiencing Cobb County Hands-On.
Right.
And it's a training program that lets students work in Cobb, and I look at it as a way to train these future taxpayers and
Sure,
also to teach them
absolutely.
a little
Right.
bit about what goes on here.
Well, we have, as you know, some of the commissioners already have interns that have started in early May.
Mm-hmm.
I chose this year not to have one because I'm still getting the feel for the job, and didn't quite know to bring somebody on that I didn't have a program for. Quite honestly, I wish I'd done it now because there was something out there that I wish that I wanted to do, but I'll have to wait till next year to do that. But you hit it right on the head. I always end my weekly emails to my supporters. It's your government, stay involved, and I work very, very hard, like I did by going out to Camp Hope and working with voters from Cobb County that are out there being part of that program. But also I had a young lady that shadowed me for a couple days to get an idea of what Cobb government is all about. You can read about it in a political science book, but practicing political science is entirely different, and I want them to see the reality of that. And that's exactly what these internships do. They get a feel for how their government runs funded by taxpayer money. And they get a feel for how seriously we take this obligation to treat taxpayers' money very carefully and very conservatively. So we spread them out throughout the county. They're attached to different programs here and departments where they get to see their county staff in action. And more importantly, they take the message of what they see here out to their friends and their family. And over time, they have the multiplying effect where people have a more realistic idea of the challenges we have in Cobb County. On paper, running this county looks pretty simple. Now, my obligations by law is I run the board meetings and I write the budget. Well, that seems pretty straightforward until you understand the dynamics that go behind getting the vote commissioners to vote for the agenda item, either 5-0 or at a minimum 4-1. I work very hard to make sure that every agenda item we bring forward is going to get at least 4 votes, because anything less than that starts to show that the board's divided. And same way with writing the budget. As we've been talking about here over the last month or so, the board's getting a whole new idea of how it is to be part of a budget process. There's a lot of moving parts. The big thing is that by not jamming it all to the end of the summer, we spread it out. So now everybody understands the parts of how they're moving together. And these interns are going to get a sense for that. It's not the kind of stuff that that burns pages while you're reading them. It's not exciting stuff, but it is important stuff because eventually it affects your pocketbook. And right now this summer we have some big things coming on starting in July, where we're going to be doing 3 public hearings on the millage rates, because I'm not going to roll back the millage rate, even though with increased property assessments, because we have to pay our bills. We have a first-class county, and to get first-class service, we have to pay our people a salary that's commensurate with the first-class quality of work they deliver to us. So taxes are always very sensitive with the populace, but I've come to see that as long as you tell the taxpayer what you're doing, and you do it early enough, you don't turn it into a crisis, they'll understand, and they may not like it all the time, but they understand why you're doing it, and they may reluctantly agree to go with this up to a point. We can't do this too many times. But these interns here are going to get a sense for that when they go back, that what you read in a book, and then how you see politics exercised in county government are 2 entirely different things. So we welcome all these young men and women to see how we're doing it, and look forward to the freshness they bring to the government.
Thank you, Chairman. And we will be posting the dates for the public hearings for the millage rate on cobbcounty.org, and any of the other information that we've talked about today on www.cobbcounty.org. See you next week, Chairman.
All right, look forward to being back, Aqua.
Thanks.